Okay guys, so this is what I think the Sumo Crawler should have been like from the get-go. So, little changes here and there made it work a little bit better. It's actually capable of crawling a lot more difficult courses now. And just been little changes here and there. I mean, some of them you don't even have to spend any money on. The only things that I really spent money on was tires, which are Mickey Thompson's, the wheel weights, and wideners. You know, so you could actually widen your stands. It's about 3 millimeters, something like that, on each side. A little bit better. It helps you clear the shocks once you're turning and actually extend it and all that stuff. So you can tell the whole thing sits a lot lower and can actually articulate a lot more. It could clear a lot bigger rocks because of where I put the links at right now. Show you a little bit of what it can do. That's pretty high. I want to show you. It's about 2 and 3/4 inch high. And if you look at the whole thing, it's almost as high as the whole car itself, which right now sits at about 3 1/4 inch tall, with about a 5-inch wheelbase. Yeah, pretty close to stock. Now let me show you things that I've done. So you can already tell. I drilled some new holes on the body. It's actually a little bit higher. What that does, it brings the body down, making it look better, because the way it comes from the factory, the body sits like, you know, way up there, and frankly it doesn't really look that good. So by doing that, you're able to bring the body much lower, making it look better. Now for you to be able to do that, you have to bend these guys down. That's where the servos connect to the controller. You want to bend them down to about a 45 degree so they clear the hood of the body. If not, they're going to hit and you're not going to be able to drill those holes to make it sit lower. Now that's mainly just for looks. It doesn't improve the center of gravity at all. That body doesn't weigh anything for it to improve anything. As you can tell, it doesn't have the batteries anymore, the AAAs. I actually run 7.4 volt light poles, 2 cells. See, it sits right in the back. You see the blue right there? That's the battery. And that's the battery. That's 250 milliamps. You could actually put one on the side and one on this side if you really want to cram it in there. But it just makes it more difficult to actually get in there, and then you have to put a Y splitter to be able to connect it to the controller, which in turn it doesn't really add up. I mean, come on, you can just change the battery real quick and be done with it. It doesn't take that much work to put the battery in and out. See, just pops right out. So that's out of the car. So you can tell it doesn't look as messy as it did from the factory. The only wire that's going to be up here, and it's only to make it easier to connect, is the battery wire. Everything else you want to hide on the inside. Put it right on top of your motor. Just kind of spin it in there. Add as much wire as you can, but make sure that you have enough room so that you can articulate it and it doesn't get caught anywhere. I did personally cut 2 of the little bars on top of the tranny, which connected to the metal beam on top. It just makes it easier to put the battery in there. You can do it without having to cut those off, but I was like, it makes things like, it makes life easier. Right here, that little hole on top of where I had mounted the shocks is where most people will put their shocks. They swap the points from the top hole to the bottom hole. They say, I'm done with it. It looks good. It performs better. That's awesome. If you drill a hole just a little bit higher where the bolt goes to hold the battery case, you get much better performance. Only thing about that is that the beam that goes from one side to the other, you're going to have to bend a little so that it clears the motor. But it makes all the difference in the world. You're going to want to do that. Now, right here, you could tell there's 2 more holes right there on top of where I have the upper links mounted. Now, top one is the factory, bottom one is the one I made, and then I made one a little bit closer to the center and lower. That's where I got the best results. By best results, I mean the whole thing is only going to drop as much as this. Well, for you guys, when you have your crawler dropped by taking the springs, it's going to sit much lower than this, which makes it get hung up and stuff, and it's not going to drop the wheels as low as this, which is actually a good thing because you can clear bigger rocks. So take a look at it, see where I drilled the hole. That's where you want to put it. A little bit lower than the original low hole where you would have put yours. Again, down here, that second hole that I drilled, don't even bother making that one. It was a waste of time. It didn't work too well. Drill a little bit closer to the center of the body. Bottom links, pretty much the same length. All I did was straighten them out. You get a little bit more off a rod when you take that little tiny bend off of it. It's really not a functional bend once you take a real good look at it, because once when the crawler moves around, that little bend just goes every which way and it doesn't really help you. So straighten it out, you get a slightly longer wheelbase, and it helps you to get over all those obstacles. Here, controller, the only thing you want to be on top of the body. This right here is a 1/2 ounce lead weight that you can get from any, tires, mountain store, discount tire, whatever. Really cheap. You could even get them at Ace Hardware, anywhere. Put about 1/2 ounce behind the servo. Wheel weight, add a little bit of weight to the tire. Helps you maneuver around stuff. It doesn't let you flip over as easily. These tires, much better than factory. They actually work better if you turn them around and run them backwards, I guess. But it just doesn't look as good. So I decided to just set them the way they're supposed to go, even though I lose a little bit of grip. But they just look better. I mean, what the heck. There you go. That's pretty much all you need to do to make this crawler actually worthy. Oh, right. I forgot. Now here, I doubt that you'll be able to see that really well, but there's that bar. That's the bottom steering bar or link which you want to replace, because the bottom link actually drops about 5 millimeters, something like that. I'm just taking a wild guess. Just put a straight rod through one side to the other. That'll give you a lot better clearance. I went ahead and put a little bit thicker rod, went to 3 millimeters instead of the 2, which is what it originally has on those bars on top, just to make it a little beefier to take, harder hits. That's pretty much all you got right there. That's the whole crawler. Now I'm going to try to make a better video so that you guys can actually see this thing running. And you can tell that all of these little changes actually made a difference. Best thing about it is you don't really have to spend much. You don't need to put those tires if you don't want to. You don't need to put those wheel weights. Do they help? Yes, a lot. But you don't need to do them. Now, again, about a 5-inch wheelbase, 3 1/4 inch tall, about 3/4 of an inch clearance from the floor, and I'll measure that later. There you go, guys. Looks much better.